Hello, friends. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. I got asked to share about people that look like people that aren't people. So, in the Castaneda books, you can read about um, how Carlos went to visit a shaman friend of Don Juan's without permission. That shaman gave him a gift of power. Carlos went and um, took the gift of power and did what he was supposed to do with it. And when he came back from doing that, there was three Native Americans at his car waiting for him, asking for a ride. And he told them no and left them on the side of the road. So years later, Don Juan finds out about this because Carlos just happens to tell him about this strange time that he met his friend and did this thing. And Don was like, "What the fuck? You have no idea what you did, dude. Like, this these beings that came that were asking for a ride were not humans, they were allies. And we shamans do not understand necessarily why or what or how it all works, but they do not have a torus field around them the way we do. They're basically non they are beings that manifest into look like us but come from somewhere else. They're not projecting themselves from the same place that we are. That's kind of confusing, but um, I've experienced these kinds of beings in different forms, not as powerful as what Carlos Castaneda went through, but in other ways. And so my elder used to take me to Walmart at 3 in the morning in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and help us to see beings of this nature and learn to tell the difference. They don't have thoughts. That's how you can tell. So if you don't have thoughts, you can tell they don't have thoughts. Um, and it's not the kind of thoughtlessness that a shaman has. It's the kind of like they can't have thoughts. They don't have thoughts. You can feel it. They're warlocks. They can lock your perception if you're not careful. If you don't know what you're doing. Like I'd be in San Francisco and these beings would hey, do you see that? And they'd point down and then they would go to pick it up and it's like my perception was locked to theirs. They had power over me because they had made it so that I couldn't act on my own. It's like they had control of my will. And so I realized, oh shit, I'm dealing with real stuff here. These are real schizophrenic beings or non-humans. And it can be hard to tell the difference. And some of them are just incredibly helpful allies that are, you know, beautiful, and there are other kinds that are not. My friend and I were traveling through Idaho on a Greyhound. We had nothing. We're really trying to learn how to live out in the world without anything and hitchhiking and stuff. And um, we both felt somebody waiting for us at our destination, and we were like, well, nobody knows we're here. Why was someone waiting for us? We could feel it strong. We get off the bus, and this man comes right up to us and says, I I would like to offer you organic food and shelter in exchange for your freedom. And he pulled on our will. And yeah, if we would have gone away with that guy, it wouldn't have been good. Um, but luckily we knew not to. Yeah, because we understood how these things work. It gets intense out there if you're hitchhiking by yourself or with somebody, and you'll start to understand that there's more to this world. I've met other hitchhikers that are not human, like real life golem type people. Actually, it's pretty intense. People that live off very little for a very long time and basically are just out there. Um, all kinds of abuse that happens, and it's a mutation. Some of them are humans that have mutated. Some of them are just beings that are out there that are there for, they're having an experience, and are there really for you. Um, so yeah, I mean, uh, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually really exciting. Don Juan would talk about how he loved to observe these beings because they don't have a luminous torus field around them, and so to see them directly as energy was to like kind of observe something like holding itself together. It's like it's so different. Um, so when by Carlos not, giving those people a ride, by disrespecting them the way he did, he really, Carlos said, or Don Juan said, he was just in shock at what a fool he was. He couldn't believe that he did something like that. Because the shaman that gave him that gift of power saw that Carlos could see energy. Because Carlos appeared to be able to see energy. And yet Carlos was super dense, and whether he could see energy or not, he didn't admit it to himself or act upon it. And so that's kind of what made Carlos Castaneda so powerful, is that all these crazy things were happening to him with power plants, and he was having his world, his reality rearranged. He could still sort of stay solid in ways that most people wouldn't be able to because he was so dense. He almost didn't believe what was happening to him was happening. But he was a powerful, magical being. If you look in the eyes of Carlos Castaneda, just like a photograph of him, you'll see he's a magical, ruthless man. His eyes are cold and indifferent, like an eagle, like a bird of prey. They have to be. You have to be cold and indifferent in order to do what an eagle does, and a shaman does what an eagle does. It's the same thing. You have to be that focused. You have to have unbending intent. And it's okay that you don't, right? It takes years to cultivate. It starts with your yeses and your nos, and it builds into a time where you really have your willpower is really strong. And that's what I want for all of you, is to feel, to have an incredibly strong will. It feels amazing. So when I was telling you that person at the bus stop was tugging on our gaps. Our gap is that area of the very center of our body in the front. There is an area that is that can open and close, and it's a very vulnerable place. And honestly, when I was training, we spent most of the years covering our gap with our hands because we were so opened up to perception. We were being trained on how to use what's called your luminous fibers in order to touch and feel and see and know the world, which extend from, for men, from their mortal gap. So you have to open your gap to feel, but you have to close it in order to not die. And so shamans take this all very seriously, and they do very particular types of things in order to strengthen their energetic self. They do what are called shamanic passes, magical passes, shamanic movement. This stuff will absolutely change everything if and when you're ready to do it. And I mean everything. It's not like normal things. You have to spend years learning how to do these movements before they become magical. At first, they're just movements. It's later that they become magical, but You can't just expect them to be magical right away until you understand the difference between moving the way you would in Tai Chi and moving the way you would with magical. There's a difference. And a lot of people can't even do the Tai Chi part. The magical passes are really powerful. And they will put you in silence. And they will open doors of perception. And they will allow you to see things, see energy. The benefit of recapitulating is that it helps you. The benefit of these movements is it helps you to focus on the recapitulation eventually, which leads to becoming a very powerful being who can do dreaming. And dreaming is a portal to other worlds. And so you can go into other layers. There's 7 worlds that are accessible. And there are hundreds of different positions of perception that one can achieve. And there's multiple different density layers within each realm. So we are just in the very, we have accessed one base dream, and this is incredible, and we're honored to be here. But once you have traveled to another vision, had an entirely different experience outside of this one, then you've had a reference point, and that's what allows you to be able to start to navigate perception in a different way. And so just sharing these ideas and concepts really with your body so that it understands what's possible. To intellectualize this stuff doesn't work. You have to sort of like really be around shamans and stuff that have feel this way, that know these things. But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful things to learn about and see and know in this world, for sure. It's exciting. And the more we learn, the more we know about ourselves, which is how we know that which bestowed awareness and allowed us to be here. And we become more grateful. And that gratitude changes everything. So finding a way to laugh and cry and release and heal so that you're being really honest with yourself. There's no reason to rush out and try and gain experiences in the world of power. It's really just about allowing yourself to really ask questions like a child, to start over, to reset, your mood. Contemplate your existence. Become interested in what boredom is for you. Why is there boredom in your life? What is that intensity offering, and how can you have fun with it? It's powerful stuff. As scary as it is to open the doors of perception, it's scarier to not in the long run, because we are meant to be expansive. We're meant to have a ton of light pouring out of our eyes, and we're meant to be navigators of intensity. And we all long for that, to be fully engaged, to be in love with our existence, right? And how else are you going to fall in love with your existence if you don't come to terms with it, right? So this is a world of power, making peace with that, learning how crystals are used, by native people in the world of power will kind of wake you up, help you understand that there's more to things than you realize. And so it doesn't matter where you go to learn or how you learn it. It's that expansion, and then it's contraction. So you do want to expand and then be able to so open, close. You want to be able to do that, and that's what the magical passes teach. Another means to journey, to travel, to feel. You can learn to guide yourself in meditation. I'm going to go ahead and do a guided meditation here at the rest of this time. So by all means, if that's not of interest to you, no worries. But I was asked that I offer that, so I will. So please go ahead and find a comfortable position, relax your body, start to breathe, take some deep breaths, and on the exhale, really push the air out so that you're really getting everything out, and then fill all the way up. And get in a rhythm with your breath, keeping your eyes closed. Relax your body. Let everything go. Keep breathing. We're going to visualize being in a beautiful forest. We're going to walk along the forest floor. You can crawl or roll, float, but go slow. Look at the trees. Can you see them? How different they are. Feel how magical these beings are. They're so rooted, so strong. I want you to find a tree that calls to you and go to it and sit in front of it. Put your hands on the earth and look at this magical being. Go ahead and get up on your knees and put your hands out to touch the tree. And lean forward. Put your heart at the base of the tree. And say thank you. Thank you, friend. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for teaching me what it means to be rooted, grounded, connected. Thank you, friend. I look up at this beautiful tree and observe how incredibly strong, how incredibly powerful this being is. And now we're going to put our hands into the dirt where the roots go. And you're going to pick one root of this beautiful tree and you're going to follow it into the earth. You're going to get dirty and muddy. You're going to smell the soil and the moist earth as you plunge headfirst down into the lower realm. Down here where all these different mushrooms and microbes and critters exist at a level that we cannot see. But we can be there. We can go inside and observe and know the mother this way and just be held by her. Hold on to that root, but stay down here for a little bit and feel what it's like to be buried. Feel the incredible cold, damp, wet, moist love. The earth loves you. Keep following this root down further into the earth until you run into another root. This other root is going to take you to another tree, to a new friend. You're going to follow this root all the way up until you pop back out of the earth into the sunlight to connect with this new tree. Stand up and give this tree a big hug. Put your chest right up to that tree and just let that connection be. It's beautiful strength. The trunk of this tree is like the spinal column that keeps you intact. know that you too can be as rooted as this tree. Copy the feeling of this tree by pushing your own energetic roots deep down into the earth and be as grounded and as connected as this incredible being. Say thank you. And now allow the wind to move through the forest. Observe the treetops. Listen to the sounds of the birds. Do you feel more connected? Do you feel your relationship to the mother? As the trees move in the wind, they creak and crack, communicate. As their branches extend magically outward and upward because of how rooted and strong and beautiful. We are this strong. We have these roots. We come from the trees. We have an intimate relationship with the tree of life. Allow this time in the forest to saturate you. Allow the smells and the sounds and the wind and the love of this land to change you forever. And you can always come back to this tree, to these two friends that you've made today. You can come back to this beautiful forest whenever you want. You can use this meditation to return. You can create your own. But allow yourself this gift to be rooted, to be held by the mother, to smell and feel and sense your connection to all things. The mother wants to hold you daily. She wants to take your pain, I promise. But our pain is our armor, and it's hard to let it go. But it's okay, we're going to do it a little bit at a time. Let's go ahead and lay down on the forest floor. And just let yourself melt. Just lay all the way back. Feel yourself going in and down just a little bit. Now imagine a bird comes and lands on you. You feel its feet walking on you, tapping you. This is another friend for you. We're all connected to the winged ones and the standing ones, the creepy crawlies, the no-see-ums, the fairies, and the butterflies, and the moths, and birds of prey, powerful mass of animals that exist in these forests that can teach us so much about our longing. Go ahead and allow yourself to surface and come back. You've been held by the mother, connected with trees, with a bird, with yourself. So enjoy that feeling, that connection, and know that it's yours. Yours to claim whenever you would like. There's nothing like being held by the mother. There's nothing like knowing that she sees you and that she loves you. And it can take time to receive that kind of love. It can take time to accept how amazing we are. We may be in a stage where we still have negative thoughts about ourselves. So we want to learn how to acknowledge them, those thoughts, and release them with intent. So you can just hook that thought, throw it. You know, it comes back. Okay, do it again. These thoughts that are difficult sometimes are there for us to face as a means to heal, because these thoughts are powerful. You are powerful. So when you say something negative about yourself, it makes it that much more difficult to undo. So we want to stop. We want to find a way to adjust what we're saying. You can't expect miracles, right? So we want to start with, okay, I'm noticing that I'm saying things that I wish that I was saying something else about myself, and you make as much peace as you can with where you're at, and raise your hand and ask for help and do all the things. But eventually you can get to a place where you have very little thoughts, and that's what makes it easier to not have negative thoughts, right? Through learning to feel so much more, the intensity of feeling overtakes the need to keep a dialogue. And then you start to have magical guided ideas rather than just normal thinking. So you move from thinking to contemplation to expanding your perception. And then the warrior arts train and cultivate and build your strength up, that you can, when you do have a hard day or a hard week or a hard month, that you've gathered enough tools to get through it. And then you realize, oh man, this really is working, right? So allowing ourselves to reset in whatever way we know how to, right? Like for some people that means it's totally different, than another way. Everyone's got a means. For some people it's 5 hours in a hot tub, some people they need a week in Hawaii. Some people, would just kill just to have a hug. We're all going through different stages with different processes, and I hope that you realize how powerful you are becoming, even if you don't feel as empowered as you would like. The veil is really lifting, and it's personal. It's not the collective that matters. It's your personal veil that's lifting, that is of essence to you. Allow the revelation of how magical things are to happen to you personally, because that's where you will find the harmony and the joy to be able to be of service, to make a contribution that is truly of your essence. So how we end up being of service can often happen when it's because, we're just so thankful. And until that gratitude is really authentic, it's okay to admit that, hey, I'm not feeling that. But as many say, when things are really, really bad and you feel like you're going to leave this world or something, go and help someone that's worse off than you. And it changes your perspective. And that's usually something you can find. Um, so, this world is constantly offering us opportunities to get to know ourselves. Um, what we do with those opportunities is ultimately up to us. And time is a real thing in that if we are able to make use of opportunities when they arise, then less and less opportunities will come. So when you get an invitation to go outside or to feel something or to, something is told to you or shown to you, just follow your heart. I promise it leads to really beautiful places. It will be challenging. There's pressure to not follow your heart in this world. It's a real force. It's in place to make sure that you don't evolve. But that's just the nature of things. Of course there is. Just don't let it decide for you. You decide. Free yourself in whatever way you can. And find a way to laugh and cry. Because there's tons of energy that's within us that wants to be released and freed so that we can be empty enough to receive new, fresh energy. So there's creative ways to move your energy. I recommend, moving all different parts of your body all the time. Just rotate your ankles, adjust your toes, move your fingers, rotate your wrists, do wrist stretches, constantly allow yourself to feel what it means to, just be in physical form, right? We're not physical beings, and yet we manifested it. It's the greatest gift there is, to believe that we are. And we believe it so much that we've made it so. So let's enjoy it. Let's take care of ourselves, even if we've been hard on our body in the past. It is what it is. Be a warrior. And a warrior isn't at war with others. A warrior is facing the enemy of the self. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a hero's journey. It's there's really ugly stages to it, really difficult, uncomfortable stages. But of course there are, anyone that wants to become free is going to have to go through some shit to do so. Freedom is a real thing. What Taisha Abelard did in Sorceress's Crossing is real. That's why she had to be in the tree for so long, because toward the end of her recapitulation, it becomes, you become fully activated. So I recommend any little bit of breath work that will allow you to get lighter. Start where you're at. Don't try to be Taisha Abelard or me or somebody who's been doing this a long time. Just be where you are. Say thank you for the opportunity to learn. There's no changing the past, but there is a way to harvest the gold from your past so that you realize your past was exactly as it needed to be, and that everything is perfect and is perfectly set up for you to walk a path of heart. Even if it's your last day, find your path of heart, walk with it, we won't know when our last day is, so we want to assume that it could be any moment, and we want to proceed accordingly. But also, speak our intention to stay here for a long time, because that is respected. I hope everyone has a really amazing next few weeks. I'll be sharing again when I can. Okay, take care.